Welcome to this evening's webinar for COLPAI. We are recording this webinar and it'll be uploaded to the website in the next few days. Please do ask any questions during the webinar using the chat function at the bottom of the screen. We'll move to Q&A after the presentation, but do write your questions at any time and we can come to them at the end. My name's Jessica Stewart and I work for ComCom UK. We're helping with the communications for COLPAI, and I'll pass over to Michael.
Good evening, everybody. Michael Gwyther-Jones, Head of New Developments and Special Projects for Community and Children's Services.
Paul.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Paul Murtagh. I'm the Assistant Director for Housing and for Barbican.
Mark.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mark Lyman. I work for the City Surveyors responsible for delivering the project.
And John.
Evening, I'm John McLeod, Project Director for ISG.
Thank you very much. We'll put up the presentation and I'll hand over to John to run you through it.
Okay, so that's just the front page there. Some protocol tonight on the questions, etc., and what we're going to go through. And then into the presentation. So as you usually start these presentations with just a look at the outside of the building. These pictures are fairly recent, within the last fortnight, and they show kind of where we are now. Pretty representative. So we're looking there at the north elevation, on the left, sorry, on the north elevation, which is the sandy coloured brickwork there, so Berkeley silver brick. So all of that brickwork's now installed from the roof down to around level 3, and we're installing all the GRC there. So what we've got left to install, as you may see from those photographs, are the corner sections. You can see the front elevation there. Similar situation, all the GRC now is installed, all the balustrades installed. We've taken out the fan, the scaffold protection fan that was sitting above the hoarding there, and now we're working on the lower levels with some mobile elevated working platforms, or MUPs. So you can see those sort of scissor lift, that's a MUP there. So there's a couple there at low level, infilling brickwork, and the material, the sort of concrete coloured material there is precast concrete infill. So they sort of frame all those openings with a precast concrete section. On the right hand side, you've got the south elevation. Again, looking from Golden Lane, and you can see we've got a mast climber that's halfway up the building there. It's being struck. So the process we're going through is striking out those mast climbers. And we do the infills, the tie sections now from cradles. So this has actually changed now, this access arrangement on the north elevation. We are now operating from cradles. The south, we still have got a mast climber, but it's at the sort of lowest level there is. We've just got one section of mast there. So we're just infilling all of the tie sections now and just doing the finals on the elevation and the corner sections of GRC. And on the low level there, you see we're just building the brickwork round on the south elevation there, and infilling the access points for the cavities. Where you see those bricks left out, that's just cleaning out the cavities, which is a process we go through, just cleaning out the brickwork cavity. So I think that's all to say about that photograph. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'll just talk about the photo on the right there, because the photo on the left is pretty much a similar one to the front. So on the back here, you can see our cradles. If you just have a look at the very top of the building, there's a couple of cradles there, which are suspended from the roof, and they are sort of counterweighted with Kentleys blocks. And then the guys are working from that as infilling all these sections and putting in the final bits of GRC. Low level, we'll be using mobile elevated working platforms again on the low level to do the works on the right hand side of the podium there, and at the very lowest levels. Next slide, please. So on the building, this is work in progress at the moment. We are starting to put in the soffit sections that go in front of the flats. What you see here is one of the apartments from Golden Lane. You're looking down the balcony there, and what you have is this board section here, which it provides the soffit area and hides the services above. So we infill all of those balconies with that product. And above there on the right hand side is the before and after, really. So you've got your services at high level that feed into the flats. There's a rail system there which our boards are fixed into. And then on the left hand side, obviously that's the work in progress, getting near to the finished product on those balcony areas. Next slide, please. So this slide is showing one of the lower levels, and it actually shows, if you look at the right or the left hand slide, that shows the precast at high level. That's a precast plank there, which is framing the opening. And on the columns are wrapped round with sections of precast, and the sill below the balustrade there, that's also precast concrete. So the gap there's a gap between that sill and what you can see on the floor level is actually a screed. So we actually have a paving slab which sits up on pedestals and provides a level finish. It's a nice sort of dark grey paving slab, so it provides a nice contrast to the pale concrete. And so that's a view from the other side there, just looking back down the walkway. Next slide, please. A couple of images here of the internal elements of the apartments. So there's a typical kitchen on the left-hand side. I think we've shown you these before. Typical disabled bathroom there. And then we've also got a toilet, a sample toilet there on the right-hand side. So all these units now, we've worked our way through all the internal units. We're commissioning and witnessing at the moment. We're down to the duplex apartments, which are on levels 1 and 2. So progress fairly consistent with these photographs now. We're just basically completing the finals, cleaning and commissioning. Next slide, please. This is an image of the duplex apartments. There's a couple of images here of the duplex. The duplex obviously have the staircase running through, so they're a 3-bedroom apartment, and the image in the middle there is the kitchen. We've got an image of the WC, and then there's a hallway image there as well. So these are the last flats that are last apartments that we're forming now. Okay, next slide, please. This is fairly unexciting, a couple of slides, but there's a cycle store there which hasn't got its cycle storage in yet, but that is where it will be going, which is in the basement. A very large room which will be fitted out with a bespoke cycle storage unit. And then on the left-hand side, you have got the main plant room. You can see the services there. On the right-hand side of that image are the boilers, which are under protective covering. And then you've got all your pipe work there, which is insulated, feeding the various elements of plant in the plant room. Next image, please. Okay, so these are on the left-hand side image is from the front elevation again. And again, it just shows that the scaffold that was there, protection scaffold that was there now has been removed, and we're working from those mobile elevated platforms. The rear image here is of the courtyard. We still have a lot of materials in the courtyard. We've still got a fair bit of brickwork and GRC stored there. And there's also storage there for the Undercroft area as the sort of main entrance area. We have formed an area the area to the right hand side on where you see the tree pit and the tarmac, that has been formed sort of to a point of its just prior to its final finishes and final coat of tarmac and tree planting. And we've sort of formed that to base course, and now we've got some storage in there to start to make way for when we do the main Muga and other landscaped areas, which will be immediately after Christmas. Next slide, please. Okay, some confirmation about working hours. So usual working hours in the week, 8 to 6 p.m. Saturdays 9 to 2 p.m. We're working selected Saturdays at the moment, so you'll notice that we're a bit sporadic on Saturdays. We've probably worked less over the last couple of months than we've actually worked. So there'll be, I think we intend to work this Saturday, but yeah, we are working selected weekends. Christmas shutdown. So we actually close midday on 23rd of December, and we're closed for a week and 1 day. We come back on Tuesday the 3rd. We have emergency contact details, which will be provided on the portal, and they'll also be on our notice boards. We will have attendance all the way through in terms of security. So what we'll have is, we won't have manned security, but we'll have people coming in basically to check the flats, check that we haven't got any problems, any unexpected visitors, or leaks that we wouldn't want at this stage of the job for anything like that to not be picked up while we're away for a week or so off site. So we have people periodically coming in to check every room, check the building, just make sure everything's as it should be. And then they contact me. And so that'll be pretty much every day for that shutdown period. And we've also got our CCTV in operation as well. And other than that, in terms of COVID, we're still monitoring the situation. Mixed reports about whether it's increasing or not. I think we keep close to company guidance and government guidance, but at the moment it's not really affecting us. Certainly nothing like it was affecting us this time last year. But there's some government guidance and support there if anybody needs to understand what the current situation is from a legislation point of view. And I think that's my last slide, I think. No, it's not quite. So key project milestones. So commissioning of all internal apartments by November 2022, we're on track to complete that. We then go into the Christmas shutdown period. We have a removal of scaffold fans, mast climbers, cradles. That will all be done in January 2023. The actual plan is to remove the scaffold fan on the north elevation, which is our last scaffold fan, in December. And then commencement of the final phase landscaping in January 23. So we'll have that landscaping phase will bring us right through until February, March, and that's when we're projecting completion at this time. Okay, I think that's me. Not quite. Oh yes, over to you.
Thanks, John. Chris, would you like to take this one?
Hi all. So my name is Christopher Sharp. I do daily comms for this project. Apologies that you can't see me. Just to inform everyone and remind everyone, as I'm sure you may have already heard, that we've got our consultation ongoing relating to the naming of the new residential building. So after consultation with Golden Lane Estate residents, we finalized shortlist, And that also came after liaising with officials at City of London Corporation and Islington Council, with other authorities to ensure that the names weren't duplicated. And that meant that we've got a shortlist of 3 names to choose from, which are Black Raven Court, Nina Borden Court, and Green Cat Court. So you can vote up to the 30th November 2022, which I think is next Wednesday. So please visit our website, www.colpai-project.co.uk, where you can find a link to the poll. And if you could just spread the word to any of your friends, people that you know who live on the estate, that they can vote as well, that'd be fantastic, because we want as many people to engage as possible.
Thank you very much, Chris. That's right. We would like everyone to take part in the consultation who lives on the Golden Lane estate. Please visit the website, which is www.colpai-project.co.uk. Thank you. We'll now move to the question and answers. We've got a few that have come in. So the first question, when will the building be ready for new tenants to move in? Michael.
Thanks, Jessica. Well, the building will be ready for tenants to move in when the contractor has completed the construction. So I don't know whether John, whether you want to make a comment on this, but currently we're looking at completion of the construction for March 2023, is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Will every flat have its separate private balcony? Michael or Mark, who'd like to take that one?
Every flat has its own balcony, yes, that's right.
What is in the lower part of the building that is different to the top part of the building? I think there's obviously, it's broader at the bottom as well, so it might be worth explaining why there's that difference. Michael.
Do you want me to go, Michael?
Carry on, Mark, if you want to explain that.
So at the ground floor level, what you have is 3 commercial units, and then you have the entrance to the school. So that really makes up, there is a plant room, electricity substation as well. It's on that level. So that really makes up the whole of the ground floor. If you go down into the basement, which you can't see, it's a very large plant room, and then there's a very large cycle storage area. So the basement is actually much smaller than the ground floor. So it's a much smaller area. So that really makes up the ground and the basement levels.
Thank you. How many flats are there on each floor? Mark?
Oh, we shouldn't have answered that.
Yeah,
It's about
it does
5.
vary.
It's 66 in total. I think it varies depending on the size of the units. So, Michael, do you want to go?
Well, of course, there are some duplex, so they occupy 2 floors. So 66 flats, on average about 6 flats per floor, I believe.
Just trying to work it out, yeah.
Depending on the size, because they vary in size as well. Yeah.
And this is a follow-on question. Are the maisonettes 2-bed or 3-bed?
3s.
Thank you. What types of flooring is installed in the rooms, in the bedrooms and the bathrooms? John, could you help with that one, please?
Yeah, in the bathrooms, you generally get a tile, so it's porcelain tile, and in the main living areas, it's a linoleum, which is linoleum, which is a hard wearing product rather than carpet, obviously for the use of the units.
Thank you. Will there be a children's playground? Michael.
So the families or children of the residential building can use the multi-use games area, which adjoins the residential development. And there's also a play area within the Golden Lane estate itself for younger children.
Thank you. And a supplementary question, when will the playground be finished? You're starting in January, John. When will that all be ready for play?
The plan is to have all of that complete for the end of March.
Thank you. We know there won't be any garages, but will there be any additional storage for tenants? Michael.
There's no dedicated storage rooms a bit beyond the actual flats themselves. So all the storerooms are within the flats.
Thank you. There's a question here about square meterage of the flats, in particular the 2 beds and 3 beds. I'm suggesting we put all of the detail in the breakdown of the number of units and the size of them and their square meterage online. We can add that when we add the video. Okay. I don't know if there are any more questions from our audience. Please do put them in the chat function if you've got any. Give you a few moments. Someone said that would be great, and they meant to mention it during the last webinar. And thank you. Great. Anything further? We've had some good questions tonight. Thank you very much for engaging. Okay. Well, I'll start wrapping up. If any more questions come into the chat function during that, we can move back to them. But thank you very much to everyone who's turned up this evening. Do please come again to our webinars. We hold them quarterly, and it's very good to actually have people come along and ask questions. Thank you very much to the team for putting the presentation together. And hopefully we will be able to show everyone the finished article at the next webinar. One more question, actually. What about the waste? Michael, would you like to take that one?
Yeah, I can take that one. There is a waste storage area on the ground level for the residents to use. So there's a dedicated waste storage for the residential block.
Thank you. Okay, well, if there are no further questions, actually a couple more have come in. Will there be a garbage chute?
No, there's no garbage chute, no.
Thank you. Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for everyone who's attended. Thank you very much to the panelists, and thank you very much to all those who've asked questions. I hope this has been helpful, and we'll have it up on colpai-project.co.uk in the next few days. All the best. Thank you.